Good evening, everybody, and hope you are all as well as you can be. This podcast here with the amazing Paul Elliott from Mindshift Experience. Good evening,
I don't
Paul.
know about amazing.
You have been amazing.
Thank you. I really appreciate that comment.
It's no bother, and I know firsthand through personal experience with your good self. It's you helped me along in my NLP journey, and just
I knew you're an NLP practitioner.
Yes.
I mean, how did that happen?
I always say, everything happens for a reason. Do you know what I mean? Just remember my first meeting. You were doing when you were doing what you were doing, and we came across each other.
I remember.
And came to you for sessions, and obviously you're helping with Matthew as well. Do you know what I mean? And,
well, I think that's the important thing to mention here is that I mean I've been in that position before. And in actual fact, only a few months ago, I would have a refresher with one of the guys that I'll go and see for my own well-being as well. So I like to always get across that I'm very far from perfect. I'm just a normal guy that's really, really passionate about people. I'm passionate about neuro-linguistic programming. I'm really passionate about empowering people and giving people confidence, belief, giving them hints and tips on how they can actually use the power of their mind to get a better version of themselves. That's what I'm passionate about, and I love it. Absolutely love neuro-linguistic programming. Changed my life. Changed my life.
Yep, I totally agree, and I'm exactly the same. I know you've got lived experience of mental health issues, and so have I. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
The way I look at it is, we're only human at the end of the day. We've all got good days and bad days. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. And sometimes when the storms of life come, you can use neuro-linguistic program to help guide you through, and that's what I do now. What I've tended to find, my goodness, I've been doing this now 11 years, NLP, and I get started in NLP, Martin. I don't know if I've told you a story, but the reason why I get kicked off with neuro-linguistic programming, I joined the army at 17, just as a baby, basically. I had never left home before. And then served 9 years in the army, then came out of the army, and I wasn't the best person, to be quite honest. The version of me you just wouldn't recognise. I was very emotional. I was talking down to myself, telling myself that I was no good. I was ugly, I was this, so all these terrible, horrible thoughts, and I was actually saying these words. And my sister caught me one day saying it, and she said, "If you keep on speaking to yourself like that, Paul, you're going to end up either in a hospital bed or an early grave." And I thought, there's something in that. I don't know what it was, but the words that she spoke to me, and my sister Marianne's a master NLP practitioner. She knows her stuff. But I knew nothing about mindset back then. I was very, very driven and stuff. If I wanted to achieve something about my mindset, I would be able to do it. But when she spoke those words that day outside my house, I thought, I'm going to have to change, because I was taking lots of medication from the doctor, antidepressant type style medication to help me, which wasn't doing me any good. And actually, this is only my personal experience. It wasn't doing me any good. I'm not saying it's not good overall for people to be taking antidepressant medication. Of course not. Each to their own. But see, for me, Martin, it wasn't working. And I attempted to take my life on numerous occasions. So it got that bad that that's the cycle I was on. And I was thinking, I'm taking these tablets every day. I'm still feeling really bad about myself. I still don't want to be here. I'm going to need to change the way I think about things. And if I change the way I think about things, the things I think about will change.
So, that's the point that I've been trying to kind of get across to people as well. What lived experience.
Absolutely.
it does help, you know.
Aye.
I'm not saying everybody's got to go down that road to get into NLP, do you know what I mean? But
no, definitely.
So one question I did have for you was NLP. You know, you just explained a wee bit there about your background and stuff.
Aye.
How did NLP come about? How did you? Did you all of a sudden? Was it your sister or was it?
It was my sister. She'd said, look, I think she was a linguistic programmer at the time. She hadn't done her master trainer course yet, which she is now. But I knew she'd done NLP, but she'd never explained to me what it was about and all the rest of it. She worked for a business that put her through the course and stuff like that, which was she was very grateful for. And she managed to really turn her life around. She actually lives in Murcia, Spain now, next to the sea. So she's done really, really well for herself. She's now retired, but I'm thinking to at that moment when she had spoken those words, I said, I'm going to start looking into how I can study this. And then before you know it, I get involved with a course 11 years ago. And I don't know about you, because I know that you've done your practitioner's course, but I always feel that no matter what course it is that you're doing, there is detail in there, and everybody needs to know the detail, whether it be NLP or anything that you're doing. The real learning happens on the job, and it's when you're speaking to people, and you're talking about that lived experience example. You're absolutely spot on in what you're saying there, and I think that's why people will engage with guys like us. Because they'll have something in common. There's a bit of common ground somewhere. Like some of the stuff you'll talk about you, or some of the stuff I'll talk about me, and my insecurities and stuff. Hold on now, let's make this normal, because a lot of the labels that are put on by society these days can really have an impact overall in your programming. And for anybody who's listening right now, and I think we're probably best off to explain in short, more or less, what NLP is. Neuro-linguistic programming, neuro's your brain. You get about 65,000 thoughts per day coming in and out your mind. On average, roughly, that's what they tell us in science. That's a neural part. A lot of the thoughts that we have, though, Martin, are what I refer to, you've heard me saying this before, parasitic thoughts that talk us down. So that's a neural part. Linguistics is your language. Watch your words, what you say you become. If you say you can't, you never will. And last but not least is programming. Your unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind is 95% your overall brain capacity, but you know this. Only 5% is conscious, but we don't think about the program that all lies in behind there. Like the decisions that even I've made today, or you've made today, or anybody watching this wee video just now, a podcast, everybody seems to think that it's coming from a conscious experience. In actual fact, a lot of the decisions are in the background. Our unconscious mind keeps us alive, so we should take it seriously. And every single word that we utter out our mouth it's almost like a form of self-hypnosis. You're talking yourself down, you're talking yourself up. So what vibrational state are you in? You're in a low vibe or a high vibe? High vibe, you're positive energy. If you're vibrating at a low level, you tend to be having a bit of a victim mindset, or feeling negatively about yourself, or everybody's out to get you. Rather than saying, well, I'm just going to do my very best to every single day tell myself I love myself every day.
Yeah, it's very, very true, and I totally agree. Yeah, it's I don't think NLP gets talked about enough, in the wider circle, So
I agree with you. It's becoming a wee bit more known about now. Is that there's more and more practitioners coming up. I think it was 1974. Badland Grinder came up with this idea to almost shape a person by the power of thought, and that's awesome. And it's been proven that it can work, and it can work. But it's got to be done over a prolonged period of time of you speaking to yourself the way you would speak to a stranger.
Well, see,
imagine that.
Yeah, well, yourself. There's the NLP and hypnosis out there. There's also CBT and all the rest of it out there. What would you say? What would you say to people? Why choose NLP over other therapies?
I wouldn't suggest, each to their own. Some people might, like say, for kids who've got CAMS, and there's counselling out there, there's psychotherapists out there, you've got CBT that you're just talking about, you've got NLP. It's whatever really that will fit the individual. But certainly, with my experience anyway, in working with neuro-linguistic programming, everybody should be using it in their life, not just one or two people. Even the people who we see or maybe view that are successful, really happy and all the rest of it. These guys, do you think we need to get it across to everybody that these people were not always like that? They've created that, and they've created it through the power of thought.
Yeah. Yeah. How did what people have been saying to me is talking about hypnosis and stuff like that. I've been trying to get across that hypnosis is nothing to fear. NLP is nothing to fear. You know, it's not. Like people have said to me, or gee whiz, hypnosis, or you're going to be jumping about a stage, doing chickens and chicken dance and all the rest of it. You know, I don't know whether the way I try to get it across is like people are in trance every day in everyday life and don't realise it. And what I mean by that is
and being programmed by external sources every day as well, and they just don't realise it's happening.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
there was a good. Oh, sorry to interrupt you there, but it was a good example you just gave there, Martin, when you're saying about how people perceive hypnosis, and you're absolutely right, because people do perceive it as you'll be on a stage and you've got an onion and you're eating it and you think it's an apple. That's stage hypnosis. That's completely different from what you're talking about. The hypnosis we're talking about, it's literally what hypnosis is only suggestion. So if I can suggest to you, you can become something, then is there a higher probability that it's going to happen? The answer to the question is yes. But there's two sides to your mind, and this is the hypno part. This is where hypnosis and NLP really join together. One side of your brain is intellect, the other side's emotion. This does, your intellect does your mathematics. I know your name's Martin Park. Right, okay, that's fine. I know you're wearing an Empower t-shirt on there. My intellect tells me that my emotional brain doesn't know the answer to 2 + 2, but my emotions will always win over my intellectual brain. Always, unless I control it. And I tend to find that people that go through life and they are highly emotionally charged, they tend to be car crashes. They'll just get into the next crash, the next crash, the next crash. Whereas if you base your decisions on intellect only and shut down your emotions, then you're really left with one or two answers. It's yes or no. Is it the right decision or the wrong decision?
Is there, I know through experience with yourself, you kind of do good analogies with regards to, like the vase and the pulling the lever down and all that. As you know yourself, I've used that in the past, It's,
definitely.
Is there any other kind of wee analogies in that you'd kind of like to share with us or whatever?
There's a couple of wee hints and tips, just very quickly. One of the ones that's really simple for people to do is just a bit of an eye movement, and they've learned this in your NLP course, Martin. I like to, I do this with everybody that I coach, and what it does is, it more or less, it's a circuit breaker for negative thought patterns, negative thoughts, pictures, and emotions that are coming into your mind. And all you need to do is this. You keep your head straight, everyone. If you're listening to this now, look forward, and then just tilt your eyes up, look at the ceiling, and then tilt your head back. And try and think negatively when you do that. It's impossible. The analogy I'll use for that to prove the point. Have you ever seen someone trying to stop themselves from crying? What do? They look up. It's normally like this. Looking up. It's an unconscious reaction within your body. Your eyes go up to stop you from feeling sad. So, when these negative thoughts come in, just look up.
Look up.
Reset. What am I grateful for? What am I grateful for?
We're looking up. We're power of positivity.
That's it. What am I grateful for? Everybody, no matter what the situation is in anybody's life, try and squeeze out some positivity from every single situation, every single trauma, everything. Try and squeeze out, if you can, any positives from it, because there will be some in there. It's just sometimes that we just look, the human brain tends to gravitate towards a negative. It does. It tends to gravitate towards a drama, something like that. That's the reason why the programs are on the TV that people watch. Like say, remember back in the day, you had Big Brother, or you've got Love Islands now and all the rest of it. People tune into that, not to see people loving each other. They tune into to see drama, arguments. So if that's the case and you're doing that over and over, or you're even watching the news, there's another hit. It's turn the news off. I don't do it. I don't watch the news. So what I know, I can't control it. I can only control what I can do. And that is loving myself more. When I love myself more, I can love you more. I can be here for you. If I'm down, then I'm going to bring others down round about me. It's almost like a virus. That's why it's called, when you're saying, talking about the sort of energy share, it catches, it's sticky. Negative energy is sticky. It sticks to you. So if you're surrounding yourself right now, someone's watching this or listening in, if you're surrounding yourself, think in your mind right now, that person that you have in your life, that every time your phone goes, your mind will go, what's the problem now? Have a think about that. Because a lot of the times, if we like to use a wee analogy for that, Martin, is that if you were to run your own company, everybody, you had your own business, somebody comes in for an interview, sits down in front of you, facing you is the person within 2 minutes, you know they're going to be a pain in your backside. Are you going to give them the job? The answer is no. So what I would say to people is then, well, if that's the case, then why are you giving this person the job of being your friend if all you're ever getting is negative energy?
That's right, because you only get one chance to make a first impression.
Yeah, and why do people stick there? Because of emotions. Because I've known the person since I was a wee boy, so I've got to stay with them. In actual fact, friends are the family we choose, is what I would say. We'll all have people in our life, whether it's our friends, family. We will have people that might just not be good for us. Doesn't matter who you are. If you're not good for us, then we're wishing no harm. We wish loving kindness. But I'm moving over in this direction.
I've had a few people coming up and asking about NLP and what it's been all about, and inquiring about sessions, but we've not actually followed that up. What would you say to these people?
I would say give it a go. Give something a try. What have you got to lose? No, you've got nothing to lose. You've got a lot to gain just by understanding. Like we done a session it was a month ago in the Normandy, and it was an introduction to NLP and hypnosis techniques. But what we were doing is myself and Zoe were showing people in the audience, and they get the chance to. It was a smaller group of people. Now we'd normally do big events with 100 people, done fireworks and glass walks. This was different, Martin. This was like a proper NLP day where we done. You probably remember for the course, actually, it sticks in my mind, this example, where we done perceptual positions, and it really worked well. Where we had somebody who had come up, who will remain nameless, from the audience, and sat down in the chair next to Zoe, and she tells Zoe the problem from her perspective.
Right.
And Zoe almost role plays that Zoe's the other person involved in the situation.
Right.
Then what you do in perceptual positions is, as you'll know, the person stands up, they swap seats, and now the person that had the problem is now the person that is received. If you get the swap positions and seen it from the other person's perspective, and then you take a helicopter view with them and look down in the situation, and you say, what needs to change?
That's right. You've got the neutral person, the neutral observer position as well.
Do you know what? Sometimes when I do that, when I'm doing my one-to-one NLPs, I don't know if you've had the same thing. See, when you're doing that, some people really, really struggle to talk as if they're the other person. Mainly if it's like kids, like maybe a son and a dad or whatever, right? Something like that. And I'll say, right now you're dad, and they'll go, I want you to talk as if you're dad now, and see his point of view. And when they do it, they struggle to get the words out. But when they do eventually go there, they get the words out and say, I'm asking you to clean your room and bring the washing down the stair and the dishes from your room. That's all I'm asking for. And then they understand then their dad's perspective on it, or the partner's perspective, whatever it may be, what the situation is.
Yeah, and yeah, that's as it's just looking at it from another person's point of view and stepping into their shoes. Yeah, it's. I know it might seem a bit strange, but yeah, it does help. Do you know what I mean?
It does. And it absolutely does. And I said this to somebody last week, just over, talking about how can they get from the position they're in to being in their ideal state. And I said, well, it's going to take time. How long is it going to take? I said, well, that's how it takes. Human habits are formed within 3 to 4 weeks. We know that. Right, okay. So if human habits are formed within 3 to 4 weeks, just imagine this analogy, right? Imagine I come into your house for the next 4 weeks. Well, I've said this to you, you've probably heard me saying this one before. And for the next 4 weeks, your left hand touches a surface. I get your middle finger and I just tap. So every time you eat your breakfast, I'm tapping. You're lying in your bed with your hand next to your bed, I'm there, I'm tapping your finger. Strange? I can get stranger than that. Sitting watching the telly, I'm tapping your middle finger. After 4 weeks, I no longer come into your house. What do you think your middle finger will do when it touches a surface? It will tap.
It will tap,
and that's because the signal's sent from the frontal cortex of your mind to the middle finger. I know tapping. This is what I do. This is my habit. So if your habits, so whatever it is that you want to change in your life, and NLP can be anything. There's a vast array of things. You could talk about nutritional stuff, fitness. You could talk about how you see yourself in the workplace. There could be any idea like that. But if you do a U-turn on it and you say, right, from today onwards, even when I don't feel like it, I'm going to get up and I'm going to say I'm going to have a great day today because I said so. And I love myself. Try that. Try that for 4 weeks. And one of the boys last week that I was taking, one of the teams, I take teams as well. He's like, oh, that sounds a bit like hullabaloo. That was the word he used, hullabaloo. I was like, that's brilliant. I said, well, do us a favour then. See for the next 3 to 4 weeks, we don't do this. I said, what would you think would happen if you spoke to yourself like this every day? I hate my life. How are you going to feel at the end of 4 weeks? Are you going to feel happy or are you going to feel sad? Well, definitely it's kind of obvious. But it's just breaking it down like that and going like that. That I'm no rocket scientist. I left school with no qualifications, none whatsoever. That's the reason why I had to join the army. So a lot of life experience within there, and then from getting to where I was doing through a period, 10-year period in my life, where I was an absolute firework of a human being, not a nice person to be around, to completely doing a U-turn. I've completely U-turned it. And even the ones and the people that, have come and go at your life, I wish everybody loving kindness. Yeah, everybody. Definitely. Why should you know? And I think that even when we speak like this as men, this is important, especially if any men out there are listening to us. Yeah. It's okay to say you love somebody. And it's okay to tell them. It's all right.
Okay not to be okay. Okay not to be okay as well, So as
it's okay not to be okay, but just not all the time. And that's another example I'll give you for anybody that's listening. Somebody came in for NLP and they had the wristbands on, 3 wristbands there was, and it was out. It's okay not to be okay. 3 of them on the wristband, and you can see there I've got the Mindshift tattoo on mine, right? Mindshift tattoo, right? So the wristbands were there. The wristbands are anchored. We know in NLP what anchoring is. We'll explain a wee bit to everyone what that means. I said, do us a favour. Before we start the session, can you remove the wristbands? And she said, why? I said, I'll tell you later, but remove the wristbands. So I took the wristbands off and told her what anchoring was. I said, your peripheral vision is catching that all the time. And you're literally programming yourself, you're not okay. All the time. It's there. It's okay not to be okay. It is. I'm not okay all the time. But it's just not okay to be not okay all of the time. And then at the end of the session, she'd get a pair of scissors and cut them in front of me. Bind them. Wow.
I know what anchoring is, and so can you explain to the audience what you mean by anchoring?
Anchoring with NLP is to give people an example. If anybody's listening just now, depending on what age you are, of course, but you can have anchoring for other things. Where were you when September the 11th happened? New York. Let me ask you, Martin, where were you?
Where was I? I was in one of my old jobs and working in the office. So I was
right. Okay, you can tell me exactly where you were over 20 years ago.
Yes,
wow.
Exactly.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So that is anchored in your mind. So if I was to take you back to that seat or that room that you were in, then from your unconscious belief system, your unconscious mind will come to the forefront again. And you'll go, oh, this is when I seen the horrible atrocity in New York. The same can apply to people when they listen to the radio. And the song comes on and it reminds them of someone they love. You've anchored the song to the person. But you can also anchor things positively. I mean, footballers do it. If anybody watches the football, Harry Kane, the England footballer, takes a penalty. Watch what he does with his socks. He anchors. This is the physical part of NLP with your senses. He's using NLP before he hits a penalty. He touches both socks. I'm touching my dodgy knee, you know. Touches both socks. He puts his body in a positive frame. So his shoulders are back, his chin's up, and he's ready to hit the penalty. And he's anchored the touching of the socks to the last time he scored a fantastic goal and celebrated with the fans. Now, you're not going to score every time. However, there's a much higher probability that you will if you put your body, your physiology, into a positive anchor. I'm strong. I'm touching my socks because that reminds me of the perfect penalty I hit. And I'm going to deliver that now. And then 9 out of 10 times he scored a goal. But there's plenty of other sports people. Tiger Woods will spin his club twice. People now look at this and go, oh my God, they've been using anchoring in golf. Of course they are. They're all doing it. Everybody's doing it. They're all getting into it now. They're all understanding how anchoring works. And it's like, I'm going to remember the last time I spoke really clearly about NLP. Right, I've got it. Right, okay. I'm now going to deliver that for the rest of the call. Because I believe in myself.
Yeah, that's it. And even and also an anchor I've got, as I mentioned earlier on, is I remember the first day I actually met yourself. You know what I mean? That's like an anchor that stayed with us all through, and look where we are just now. You know, it's
that's and do you know what? Even through, do you know what, Martin? Even through that, all these years of doing NLP, I've fallen off the wagon. It's numerous times, numerous. But do you know what? I'm getting so much better at controlling it. My emotions, getting so much better. I'm starting to see an downward trajectory of negative thoughts, pictures, and emotions, and I'm getting an upward trajectory now of someone who believes in themselves or someone who loves themselves. And what I'm actually doing is I'm training my reticular activating system. And by the way, we've all got one. If you love analogies, here we go as a cracker for you. Your reticular activating system, your brain, your RAS system is literally your radar. So your brain can only handle so much bits of information. It's only so much. There's no much, there's trillions of bits of information passing us every single day, even right now. However, your brain only looks at what it's focusing for. So if you're in your reticular activating system, you're training that to see what you want to see. So I'll ask you, or I'll ask anybody watching, what was the last car you bought? And the answer is?
The answer is, I we see it.
Okay, let me ask you the next question. Why after, or why before you bought the Seat, or after you just bought the Seat, you started seeing more Seats on the road?
Because you're more aware of them. And
because your reticular activating system is doing that in radar. I want to see more of that. The same with positive thoughts or good thoughts. If I think them, then I'm going to see them. And then people who talk about the law of attraction, that's really what they're talking about, the reticular activating system. That's what they mean. But when we talk about this law of attraction thing, I need to get this point across, and I'm so passionate about it. It's not what you're wanting. So if you put in this thought into the universe, I want to be successful, I want to be loved, I want to, but what are you blocking? You're blocking it because you're thinking bad about yourself. So I want the next job, I want to do this or whatever is my life. I want to start a family, whatever it may be. I want to find the love in my life. However, you could be blocking it. Why are you blocking it? Because you're not understanding what lies behind the conscious mind is your unconscious belief system. It's your supercomputer. It keeps you alive. Are you thinking about your heart beating? Are you thinking about your lungs breathing? Are you thinking about your toenails growing? No, it does it automatically. The same way your thought processes. Eventually, it becomes automatic. It's like people going to a gymnasium. You go to a gymnasium once. You don't expect to see much muscle growth. But if you continually go over a period of 6 months, you'll start to see an improvement. The same with your thought processes. You've got to use your brain almost as if it's a muscle. And it's almost like, sometimes, we talk about the amygdala, that fight, flight, freeze mechanism we've all got in our brains, because that's only 3 options you've got in that part of your mind. Yeah. Fight, flight, freeze, it's the amygdala. It's like going like that, flash noise time. Fight, flight, freeze, fight, flight, freeze, fight, flight, freeze, when something happens. And we've all froze before. But the more you do it, or the more you have experiences where you freeze, or you take flight and you run, the more resilience, I tend to find the more resilience you build up. So see the things that used to bother me so much, because I've been through so much and you've been through so much and everybody watching this have been through so much, you're building up resilience. So the next trauma that comes or the next thing that comes and hits you square between the eyes, you've experienced something like that before, so you can handle it a wee bit better.
Yeah, that's it. And
that's what you were talking about, life experience.
Yeah, that's it. And what I've learned over a period of time as well, it's aligning up your head, your heart, and your gut.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Line it up, and you'll come to the right decision. That's absolutely what I think, maybe. So as and it's
definitely. I mean, I've people coming in for me and to see me, and they come in and say they've got anxiety disorder. And I say, I need to stop you there. You have anxiety. You're not disordered. You're not a computer. You have anxiety. Anxiety is normal. I'm trying to normalize this for you. It's normal.
Yeah.
It's your unconscious mind and your gut. You're talking about that aligning. That's what your unconscious mind and your gut. That's why we get butterflies in there. Or that's where people can suffer from IBS or, getting the shakes or anxiety. When anxiety hits, your skin can tingle. I've had a lot of experience it all. But you're not disordered. No. It just means that there's a warning system going on in your brain going like that. You're going to make a mistake here, or you're feeding the thoughts of the future. So if you're feeding the thoughts of the future, then where are you taking yourself to? And some people live in the past and they're stuck. So is the past real? Is that a memory? I'll ask everybody that question. I think it's a bit of both. The past is real, but the memory of it sometimes outweighs what happened, and you live there, and it blocks you. And then I'll ask, is this real, this conversation? And you'll say, yes, of course it is. Well, what about 10 o'clock at night? Is 10 o'clock real, or is it a thought of the future?
Oh, it's not only a thought.
It's only a thought. So if you change the way you think about things, the things you think about will change. So at 10 o'clock tonight, you're going to feel amazing before you go to bed. That's what you're going to do.
Well,
because that's just what you're doing.
That's
you just feel great.
And I always think that, or I always say to people, let's in my work in the morning, you go in with a negative attitude, it's going to be a rotten day, it's going to be murder. then yeah, chances are it probably will be.
Chances are, exactly. And that starts even before they get to the workplace. It really does. It's like, oh, drag yourself out of bed before you've done an affirmation, stood up. I mean, I stand at the bedroom window, obviously with the blinds done, but my music on, and I put a certain sound on because I've anchored this sound. It's like an orchestra music that I'll play, and I'll put my shoulders back, pin my shoulders back, my chest out in the stand in this pose. And I'll tell myself I love myself and I'm going to have a great day today, and I will stay there for a minute in that pose. See, when you change that whole physiology, whole way your body shape is, and how you like how your vibration is going out into the world or the universe, whatever it is you want to term it as, it makes a difference. It really does. It really makes a difference. But it all starts at home first. Okay. I said to the boys this week, Martin, you're laughing about it, you've probably heard me going on about it before. Messy room, messy life. Tidy room, tidy life. You know what I mean? And the boys get, and certainly the girls that I coach as well with football teams, but they get it and they're all understanding it. And I think it's great getting to kids. Like, that's how we first met, of course, with your son. Was playing for Johnstonborough.
That's right.
These kids were like 11 years old, 12 years of age, and they're getting an understanding of how their brain works. They're getting an understanding of the routines and disciplines they need to put into place all the time. Like, and I say to them, and I'll say to you, I'll say to anybody listening, you can't go for a shower once a week and expect to stay clean. You've got to say it every day. It sounds deluded at times. When you feel down, telling yourself you feel great. I had a good debate actually with Marianne about this when I went over to see her in Mustard last year. And we were talking about that and how we talk about ourselves. And my goal at the time was to become a wee bit fitter than I was at the time. And I said, and I'm just going to talk myself as if I already have the body that I desire or whatever it is. And she said, but surely you're telling your unconscious mind it doesn't have to do any work then, because you're saying you've already got your desired state. And I said, well, I'm going to disagree with you there. I said, well, let's put it this way. Let's say that I was changing how I thought about myself, not fitness-wise, but emotionally. When should I start telling myself I love myself? When I feel good? And she said, well, that's a good point. I said, you've got to do it when you don't feel like doing it. In fact, you should do it even more when you don't feel like doing it. And I'm not talking about going runs or lifting weights or any of that stuff. I'm talking about every time you catch a thought coming into your mind that's talking you down, acknowledge it and just understand that's not you. Well, I don't associate myself with that thought. Thank you. I'm grateful for you, Martin. On with the other task.
Well, the thing is as well, we all go through, as I said earlier, we go through bad times, but you can spot the signs and you can deal with it. Do you agree?
Aye, definitely. Because I used to really, I'm just going to be honest about this. There's no point in beating around the bush. I used to have a real problem with alcohol. Probably still do. And it's not because I like the feeling of being drunk. It's because I like the feeling of escaping my mind. I was addicted to that. I wasn't addicted to the substance. It's the same as food.
It's like the feeling of...
Same as food, same as like we talk about addiction. It's some shape or another. Everybody's addicted to something in some shape or another. Whether you're addicted to the paycheck at the end of the month, or whether you're addicted to smoking cigarettes, or you feel you're addicted to alcohol, or you feel you're addicted to food, or you feel you're addicted to... There's a vast array of things you can be, like gambling and all these things, that people really struggle with. And I genuinely believe, I would never look down on somebody when I've been there myself. I mean, I've been homeless and that, so I know what it's like. And looking down on someone and almost how dare I pass judgment on someone's issues and problems when I understand somewhat of what they were going through and what you're going through and everybody's going through that have these types of things. I'm not saying you have.
No,
but I certainly do, and that's something I battle with every day. Like this is this is not easy for me. It's not easy, but it's worth it, and I feel so much better. I feel more clear in the head. I can communicate better. I don't feel ill the next day. But it's learning the coping strategies rather than reaching for the bottle.
Well,
I'll reach for meditation. I'll reach for breathing exercises. I'll reach for talking to myself in a loving way. I will be kind to someone. A random act of kindness make me feel good. I'm going to do that.
Yeah. No, I always say we'll all make mistakes, but it's how you deal with it. Do you know what I mean?
That's it. That's it. I mean, nobody is perfect. I heard a bit of a quote. I hope you don't mind me using the word shit. Sorry if I've offended anyone. But there's a wee saying, and it was at home to me, and it said where people maybe view the optics of other people and that they've got the perfect life or whatever. It's just that other person or other people are better reading their shit than you are.
Well,
everybody's got stuff going on.
That's it. Onwards and upwards. That's what I always say. Do you know what I mean?
No days of positive thinking.
That's it. And what I was going to say was, what I was just going to say was, I would imagine one or two people who are maybe listening, or maybe more than that, and say, well, come for NLP sessions, but I can't afford that. The cost is a barrier. How would you?
Very tough. Very tough. But I've done plenty free. I've done plenty free. If somebody comes to me and says, and I can't save the world, by the way, and you can't save the world either. But if someone, which has happened many times in the past, where someone's come to me and they're really struggling, but they don't have any money, I'm not going to turn them away. I don't have it in my heart. Yeah. And the way I look at it is that I'm getting something out of this as well.
Exactly.
So,
that's right.
So it doesn't have to be paper.
It's a two-way street. Do you know what
I
mean?
Exactly. You're helping me just now. And it's funny. Like, come on, and we'll talk about Mindshift. No, you're helping me. This is my session. This is my NLP session. Mm-hmm. Because they'll probably say about 95% of talking it out, Martin, is the healing process. Where you're talking it out, and you're being vulnerable and honest about these things,
and getting it off your chest.
And you let me do that. And you let me do that. So thank you. I love you. Thank you.
And that's and because that's where I made the mistake as well. So it was, bottling everything up, and the world came crashing down. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And the way I look at it is, and I'm thinking with my own experience here, it's everything happens for a reason. Do you know what I mean? Going through the lived experience and is everything happens for a reason. But just before we finish up,
no problem.
You've been absolutely amazing. You've been absolutely, and
thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. I'm honoured you asking me. So thank you.
And especially, that's much everything you've done for me over the years, seen publicly right now. Wow, I wouldn't be where I am today without you, mate.
No, well, listen, I was only sat nav. I had a message on my Mindshift group. You've probably seen it last night. Was it last night or the night before? One of the boys that I used to coach, NLP, and I can speak about this because his mum Leslie put it on and spoke about it openly in the Mindshift group, which was fantastic, and had said how when I'd coached young Chris, who was 10, and it was all neurolinguistic programming. It himself positive thoughts. It was about how he can get himself to become a professional footballer. He's not a professional footballer. He's a goalkeeper. Don't ask me the team because I'm going to get killed now, right, for forgetting. I just didn't recognise the strip, but they won the league, and I think he's getting a League One or something with the team. But and she put in the message last night into my group, and she's like, "Can I thank you enough and all that?" And I was like, "Whoa, no, stop! He done the hard work. He took it away. He learned, listened, and said, I'm going to change how I think about things from now on, today onwards." And that boy's not a professional footballer. Wow. And it's just great to see people grow. It's the same with you. Yeah. When we first met, you knew nothing about NLP. Now you're an NLP practitioner. I mean, that if I felt nudge you in the right direction in life, then that's what I'm doing. I'm only the sat nav. You are the person, Mark, that's made it happen for yourself.
Well, and that's it. I always like to use an analogy. We know I've been talking a lot about analogies over this chat tonight. You know, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't always make it drink. Yeah. You know, you know, but we can do our best.
You've got to want it as bad as you want to breathe, because it's that important.
That's it. Well, another question I get asked, honestly, everybody, we're nearly done. It was just felt as popped in my mind.
Sorry, ask away.
Considering you've been good enough to give up your time for me tonight, you know, and for the people, you know, somebody asked me the other day, I was telling them about being on the podcast with yourself, and you're like, what are you doing that for? And I says, what do you mean? And I says, well, is Paul not a competitor? And I says, no.
No,
we're here to help each other. We can never have enough NLPers and practice.
Exactly. We need more. We need more. That's it.
And they looked to me and I says, well, I'm sure Paul would agree. You know what I mean?
We give me more positive thinkers in this world, please. You know, life is hard enough without making it harder and getting programmed. And this is what I do hypnosis as well, but and people not understanding how they're being programmed by what they're looking at on their phone, what kids are looking at on their phone, what they're looking at on TV.
Exactly.
They're playing games that are at 18, Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that, when they're 12 years of age. What is it that's being programmed into that child or that man or whatever, or woman or girl, and what they're looking at on a screen? Are you viewing things? Are you seeing things that is going to boost you, or are you seeing things that's going to bring you down?
Exactly.
And I said to you, Zoe, the other week there, about EastEnders, and so you used to like watching EastEnders, and I said, but all you ever hear is people shouting and arguing on EastEnders. Why would you watch it? And she went, I never thought of that. I said, well, go and watch an episode, and even in the episode, there's some sort of drama happening. Same as Coronation Street, they're all fighting with each other and arguing. Like, there's enough screaming and shouting matches in the world without having to watch that as well.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
Turn it off. Turn it off. I'm not telling people to turn off Coronation Street. If they want to watch it, that's absolutely fine. But it's not for me.
I have to be honest. I'm very, very lucky. I've been lucky because Mrs. P doesn't like that kind of stuff. So I'm quite blessed that way. Do you know what I mean?
That's good. That's good. But it can be anything. It can, like we mentioned earlier on, the news is a big one that's happening just now, especially over the last few years. People are feeling unsafe and stuff, and things that are going on around the world are not great, to say the very least. That's for sure. But what can you do to change that? What is in your power to change that? Now, if you can do something to change something in the world, go for it. If you feel that you're powerless and you can't change the decision, then why watch more of it? Because you can't do it anyway. It's always going to happen. It's going to be there.
Well, that's it. My granny used to say, "What's for you, I'll not get by you."
Exactly. And my granda used to say to me, "If you've no got anything good to say, son, say nothing."
Brilliant, love it.
No getting good to say nothing.
And just one last question before we finish up, if that's all right.
Of course.
It's if there's anybody out there who's took on board what we've all been saying tonight, and they've got the NLP bug or the hypnosis bug, and they want to get into it, have you got any advice for them? What you would?
I certainly reach out to yourself for a one-to-one NLP session. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Why? What have you got to lose? Go and see Martin for an NLP session and see what happens. Take the plunge, so to speak, because I'm more in the sort of empowerment business now, so I'm doing like events and stuff like that, and I'm seeing more one-to-one NLP clients, whereas your business right now is focused on one-to-one NLPs and helping people. Then reach out, get you a shout, and I'm pretty sure you'll be reasonable. We all need help. I'm sorry, in this dark room, I shouldn't have shut the blinds in. You can probably hardly see me.
The sun's right
I know the sun's not away. I'm like, it looks up in the darkened room here. Just the way I like it.
It's all right. It's all right.
As long as the light's shining in my heart. If there's no enemy within, the enemy with can do no harm.
Well, just put a wee 50p in the meter for those of a certain generation who would remember that. 50p in the meter.
That's it. Help yourself up. Good on you, Martin. It was lovely chatting to you.
Yeah, honestly, thank you very much for your time tonight. It really means a lot with my heart. It means a lot, so thank you very much.
Anytime. Please pass on my love to the kids and your beautiful lady. And no doubt I'll see you at some point in the future.
Yeah, and the same to Mrs. Mindshift as well, if that's all right.
Aye, you're welcome to come in here if you're around through just chat with her.
Well do. No bother. Thanks for everything.
Much love to you. Take care. Bye,
Cheers, pal. Thanks.
Bye, bro. Bye.